INFJ.
Yes.
He's intuitive,
introverted, feeling,
and judging. They're supportive companions. They are devoted people.
they look at things from a point of view that most people may not understand.
Martin Luther.
The life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation.
He wanted everybody to have equal rights.
One people.
Yes, it didn't matter.
One nation.
One nation. It didn't matter whether you're black or white. It didn't matter for him.
You belong to this place.
Yes, and the other thing that made Martin Luther King Jr. to stand out was his power to orate. He was a master orator. He was able to move crowds.
They call him a simple speaker. Use words that people can
Relate to the self-confidence. It was on another
He was
level.
determined.
Yes.
He knew what he wanted to do, optimistic about it.
Yes.
And use words that people could relate with. Karibuni watazamaji kwa kipindi chetu cha leo On Fire. And from our previous show, we looked at some personalities, and we looked at one personality called INFP, who was the healer, a thoughtful person. We also looked at another personality, ESTP, at the dynamo. These are dynamic persons. We also looked at ESTJ. I'm not alone in the show today. Kama kawaida, we have Alphie on set here. Karibu.
Asante kama kawaida.
Kama kawaida.
All right.
I think that we are going to look at another example.
Okay.
Martin Luther
King Jr.
Yes.
He was a pastor.
Imagine.
I'm whispering because he was a pastor.
He was. I learned the other day he was an American Baptist minister.
Wow.
They call him that.
For us, we know him as a civil rights activist.
Yes,
I believe, and that's one thing that he was able to bring out. Because by the time he was out there, black Americans were really having it rough.
The people of color.
Yeah, all the people of color, as he called them. Yeah, people of color.
The life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination 100 years later.
They were really having it rough. But for him, his goal or his focus was one. He wanted everybody to have equal rights.
One people.
Yes, it didn't matter.
One nation.
One nation. It didn't matter whether you're black or white. It didn't matter for him.
You belong to this place.
Yes.
This nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
And the other thing that made Martin Luther King Jr. to stand out was his power to orate. He was a master orator.
Even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream.
He was
able to move crowds.
They call him a simple speaker. Use words that people can
relate to.
Yes.
And then the self-confidence.
Yeah, he was so confident.
It was on another
He was
level.
determined.
Yes.
He knew what he wanted to do, optimistic about it.
Yes.
And use words that people could relate with, associate with.
And something else about Martin Luther King that also made him stand out was his approach to the civil rights movement.
That's true.
For him, it was non-violent.
It wasn't violent.
And you see, the funny thing is, at the same time Martin Luther was there, we also had another civil rights activist, Malcolm X. But Malcolm X was the exact opposite. For him, it was violence. So for him, it was an eye for an eye.
And a tooth for a tooth.
Yeah, exactly. But Martin Luther, on the other hand, was non-violent. For him, it was peaceful demonstration, exactly. And he used to organize marches. He looked like when he delivered the I Have a Dream speech in 1963, he actually organized a march. He was calling it the 1 Million People March.
That my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
So they walked through to Washington, went to the Lincoln Steps, and he delivered a speech. I have a dream.
Yes.
And trust me, seriously, he had a vision for the country.
A dream, and it became everybody's dream.
Exactly.
Yes.
And people bought it. You know, because he was very articulate. He knew what he wanted to say. The intuition in him knew what the people wanted. The feeling in him knew what the people wanted. And based on this, he could be able to make a judgment.
He could be able to make a judgment for the people.
Exactly. And something else about Martin Luther King. If you compare with other people under this particular personality, that is Morgan Freeman and Nelson Mandela, is that these people are all creative. They are all
innovators.
Exactly. So they're able to put words in such a creative way and be able to deliver a message that the masses can actually carry and run with. You know. So Martin Luther for me was really a very smart guy.
Knew how to associate with people.
Exactly.
Telling them, I'm one of you. This is our problem.
Yes.
We have a dream. I have a dream.
Yes.
You have a dream.
Yes.
We have a dream.
We have a dream. So now we need to go with this dream. Up to the end.
It doesn't matter when, but the dream will be realistic.
Exactly. No, but it was realized. Barack Obama became the first black president.
It's true.
So it was achieved.
It was achieved in a great way. Exactly. Years and years
later.
After.
Exactly. But at least the dream was achieved.
Yes. We from the three examples, we see these people of INFJ characters. They are people who want to bring to make the world a better place.
Exactly.
They want to make people a better person.
Yes.
Want to make you to become realize what you can do, and it is achievable.
It's achievable.
It doesn't matter how it looks like.
Yes.
But you can do it. There are people who are pushing others.
Exactly. And for them, I think because of the vision they have and the goals they have, and people are able to buy into those goals and visions, at the end of the day, these people are able to get what exactly they want. You see, Nelson Mandela, he wanted apartheid to end South Africa. He was able to achieve. Martin Luther King believed in equal rights for all.
It's true.
It was achieved. You know,
it was achieved.
It was achieved. Yeah. So the INFJ character, I believe, it's a very interesting personality trait.
Very interesting personality. They are people. They are quite a people.
They are quite a people. And as we keep on saying, people should go and find out who they are. People should go and find out their personalities.
Find out their personality. You see, these people, these INFJs, they saw a certain problem and attacked it in the way they knew possible.
Yes.
And by you knowing your character, know what is the problem around you.
Exactly.
And solve
the problem.
And solve the problem. You can do it. It's achievable.
It's achievable.
Yes.
It's achievable. Okay.
This was awesome.
This was great. I hope our audience have learned something. Make sure you leave a comment behind there.
We are looking out, we're watching to see your comments.
Yes.
We are eager to see.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Fyetuka TV.
With yours, Tabby.
Alphie as usual. It was nice having you.